You are listening to Directions from a Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. I am your host, Shanel Scott. I'm a psychic medium and energy healer who has been supporting those on a spiritual journey for over a decade. I'm your tour guide into the world of the unknown, showing you that the magic of the universe is at your fingertips. I believe spirituality is simple and fun, and this podcast will make it easily accessible, giving you the real talk on all things divine and spiritual, helping you to step into the flow. Manifesting your dreams because we all deserve to be living our best life. Are you ready for an adventure? Hello, sunshines, and welcome to another episode of Directions from your Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. My name is Shanel Scott. I am your host and your spiritual tour guide. I am here to take you on a journey through the spiritual realms to help you along your spiritual path, giving you the real talk, the down low. This will be the last one of 2023. I am going to take the next 2 weeks off to spend time with family. My son is coming home tomorrow night, and Wednesday night, and I'm very excited. Can you tell I just want to bring him home as fast as I possibly can? I miss him. It's been 6 months since I've seen him, so I am very excited that he's coming home, and I'm really taking a break. Over the next 2 weeks, we'll be back in January 8th with a new podcast. If there is anything that you would like me to talk to you about, please feel free to reach out and ask. I am always happy to share on all sorts of spiritual topics, so feel free to reach out and ask. I'm happy to put that into my plan for next year. But today, I wanted to share a recent experience I had. And I'm sharing this because A, it's the holiday season. B, I love gift giving. And I really love finding things that are special and unique for people, or that just have meaning for people. I think that is like the real meaning of gifting. It's not about the amount of money we spend. It's really about the power of what it is that we are gifting, and the memory in that will come from that. And 3, I know how hard gift giving can be. So maybe this will give you a different spin on gift giving. Yeah. So I was a participant in the most beautiful gifting ceremony a couple of weeks ago. I am part of a group that did a course with my teacher. I have taken many courses with Lori Wilson of Inner Access 101. Please feel free, go check her out. I'll drop her link below in the show notes. She is an incredible soul, and so, has so much to share. So much to share. So, she channels the grandmother, and grandmother is a Shoshone Indian from, kind of the northeast United States, from the 1800s. And that is her guide, and she channels grandmother. And this is a ceremony that she shared with Lori, and now Lori shares with us. So the group that I did the course with, we actually continue to meet month after month, more on a connection basis than a learning and teaching basis. Of course, we always learn and grow in those sessions, but it's more about connecting and coming together. So there are 3 years worth of people in this meeting each and every month. And this is the first year that I'm part of this, and the first year that I've been part of this ceremony, but they've done it for multiple years. The idea is that we are gifting the power of an object. So when Lori first shared an email and stuff about the ceremony, I was a little confused and not totally sure. And, I was having trouble trying to decide what to gift. And the day of, I was like, I have to pick something. I'm like, Spirit, show me the way. Show me what it is that I am supposed to share. So I picked an object. The idea was, when the tribe used to gather, they would put out a blanket, and you would be able to put objects that you no longer needed on the blanket. And the idea was that you were gifting an object that had power and purpose for you that you no longer needed on your journey, but you feel like somebody else could find power and purpose in that item. Once everybody kind of had left the items that they no longer needed, people were able to come and choose items off the blanket that they may need going forward. And in that, the person who left the item, they would then share the story of the item and the power that that item holds. And when I really truly understood that, I was like, okay, I picked the right thing for me to gift, and I was excited about sharing it with others. So I'm not going to share the whole thing because, of course, I'm not going to share anybody's personal items, but I am going to share the story of what I shared and then what I received. So the way that the gifting works is whoever has the closest birthday to that day got to go first. And then once they chose somebody to receive their gift from, so intuitively you just picked who it was that you wanted to receive your gift from, and you would receive the gift. Then whoever you received from would be the next to choose again until we, got to somebody that had already gifted, and then we kind of did the same thing again, whose ever birthday was next. So I got to gift first, and not first, but I gifted a crystal or a hand glass blown ball, like a crystal ornament kind of thing. And I gifted the power of magic to the lady that chose me, and it was the perfect gift. Like, it was so fitted for her. The woman that chose me, I was so excited to gift it on to her. So when I was a little girl, I would go up and visit my grandmother in Picton, which is kind of Trenton, Belleville kind of area for bigger landmarks. But she lived in the middle of nowhere. Picton was the biggest city, and it was just a teeny tiny little thing. And but she loved the area, and Prince Edward County is really got a ton of artisans and a lot of glass blowers and art painters, and like it's a beautiful, beautiful area to explore. Well, my grandmother loved glass blowing. She just thought it was so magical and so beautiful, and so I have a numerous pieces that have been gifted to me over the years from her that are just stunning. But these were an early gift. They were like Christmas ornaments that you could put on the tree, and they're hand-blown glass balls with some color and stuff in them. Now, I have seen these called witches balls, I think it is, and they've got lines through them, and they're helped to collect bad spirits. That is not what this is. It is simply just a beautiful glass ball. These have hung next to my desk or around my desk for years, for as long as I can remember. That's where they've kind of hung out. When I was little, they hung out on a tree, like the Christmas tree. But as I got older, they did not. They have sat. So I couldn't see them. There's two of them. I gifted one of them away. But there's two of them that sit on the shelf across from my desk where I can see them. And we had to share the story. For me, my grandmother is quite magical. She was like this crazy lady that just had no qualms about doing anything. Once upon a time, she was called the Cookie Lady because there was a private school in the city that I lived in, like a live-in private school, and she worked in the kitchen, and she was the baker. But as a child, she never worked. I never saw her as working. She was always home and always took us every opportunity. She would she would show you the magic of nature. Like, I think my love for birds and flowers come from her. I loved the irises in her garden. She would let me touch the petals. And I loved the little silver bells that were outside of her back door. I'm sure that I just called those Lily of the Valley. They're silver bells in my mind. Lily of the Valley, the little tiny white flowers. They were outside of her back door, and I loved those because I thought fairies lived there, and they were bells. I remember still, she put on hip waders and went down the street from her house. She took us down there, and we were sitting up on a blanket safely on the ground, and she put on these hip waders and waded into this abandoned houses, like it was a farm kind of thing, pond. It had like a fridge and a stove in the pond, like it had garbage. And she took these big, huge gallon buckets, and she was collecting tadpoles so that we could watch tadpoles grow. I always remember that. She would take the styrofoam from the packaging for meat and save them so we could build trees. She'd wash them and dry them and then cut trees, and you would like put them so that they slid into each other to make trees so that we could decorate them. She would make fairy houses. So you would take bread and white glue, and you could make tiny little fairy houses to put in the plants. And she always had big planters outside, and we would put them out there for the fairies to live in. She also had the best water fountain in her garden. It was the pee-peeing boy, and we just thought it was the funniest thing ever. My grandma always had some wild adventure or craft or baking, and she would let us experience. I remember burning my hand on the griddle, making pancakes at a very young age. Not bad, just, barely touching it and she'd rub some butter on it and away we would go. But she let us cook. She let us make the pancakes, even though the pan was hot, we were learning something. She just was this incredible and magic soul, and I wanted to gift that magic away to somebody else. My grandma just saw the world in a different way, and I so appreciate that. I appreciate that love for exploration and adventure and seeing the magic that exists in the world. It was so beautiful and so powerful. So I gifted that away, and I was very grateful to be able to share that story and to share her magic with someone else. Then I got to choose after that, and it was interesting because the lady that gifted me said that she had chosen something else, but that morning that her partner had brought in this pewter feather from outside. It had hung in her car, and she said that it had represented joy and worthiness. And from that moment, I was melting. Feathers are a huge symbol for me of divine connection and watching over me. Feathers show up in the most random of places for me. I still remember teaching yoga and standing on my mat teaching, and all of a sudden, a feather dropped from the ceiling. I'm like, where did it even come from? And it landed on my mat, just this teeny tiny little white fluffy feather. So feathers are really important to me, and I have feathers all over my office. And then the fact that joy and worthiness, that was big. So she told me the story that she needed a new vehicle, so she was looking for a used vehicle years and years and years ago. And she came across the most beautiful baby blue Subaru. And the Subaru symbol has stars in it, and they're the stars of Pleiades. And then she continued on to say that it was an Impreza. Now, she has a spiritual business. She's an independent contractor. She was like, I don't know how I'm going to make this work because I don't think I can afford a brand new car. And the sales guy worked his magic so that she could get the car. The best part of it, well, not the best, but the next good part about it is that Impreza, she said, means spaceship. So it was her spaceship. And I was like, oh my goodness, I love this story so much. It is about connection. It is our galactic heritage. It is our galactic connections. It is about our divine connection to the heavens, to the universe, to source. And it was something that really meant the world to her. That car meant that she was worthy. And not that it was defining her, but it just really solidified that worthiness for her and this piece of deserving joy. And I love that. This feather hung in her car until they got rid of that vehicle 2 months ago. So it was something that was special to her that she's passing on to me. And just everything about the story just resonated so deeply with me. You know, the journey that I have taken, the healing journey that I have had over the last year or so, the pushing through barriers and belief systems. And I am so blessed and humbled to be receiving this feather. It means the world to me. The person that is gifting it to me means the world to me. She is an incredible soul, and I'm so grateful for her gift. But the power of joy and worthiness. And it was, the other beautiful part was she was actually wearing a shirt that day that says, "Take joy seriously." And I guess that's one of her business mottos, is take joy seriously. And those are some of her business shirts. And I was like, that was everything that I needed to hear that day and more. So sometimes the gift that we give has nothing to do with the monetary value of it or the thing that we bought in a store. Sometimes, gifting on things that have meaning and purpose for us to allow someone else to hold on to that meaning and purpose can be way, way more powerful than anything that you go and buy at the mall. Share a book, share, a crystal, share an item like these people were. And everybody had something very different. There was, a candle holder, there was a picture, there was a journal made out of the bark of a special tree. There was so many incredible gifts being shared, and the reasons and the story behind them were so powerful and so beautiful that it wasn't like, oh, it's used. That never crossed anybody's mind. It never was like, this is something that belonged to somebody else. It was something that had a story and meaning and purpose. And it was a beautiful gift of giving something that you no longer needed because you had already obtained the power of that thing, and that it was time to share that power with someone else. So I invite you this holiday season to release the need to gift something from the mall. I will totally encourage you to go shop local because, that's beautiful. I have a few gifts of pottery that are being gifted this year that are special. But really think about the things that you're giving. Maybe it's just writing someone a poem or a handwritten card that tells somebody how much you love them or are grateful for them, or how that person helped you on your journey, how that person inspired you. I would take 100 cards like that over any gift any day. That melts my heart. So I hope that brings a little peace. I hope that brings a little magic to you. And I hope that opens up the door to maybe having your own gifting ceremony one day and sharing with like-minded people, with people that you love to gather with, maybe your soul family, to share the gift of power to somebody else. Thanks, everybody. Again, no podcast for the next 2 weeks. I will be back on January 8th with a new podcast, a new season. Always check out the year in review, the energy forecast for the year. I always post that on New Year's Day, the 2024 energy forecast. I'm just excited for the holidays. Let me just think. Workshop, Manifest Your Dream Life. That full day retreat is January 7th. If you're in the Hamilton, Ontario area, I am hosting that. It is a full day retreat on removing blocks, changing mindsets, understanding the foundations of manifestation, learning how to tap into your own intuition. It is a day of empowering and creating sacred space for you to create your dream life next year. And January 12th is the next Yoga Nidra and Healing Circle. So January 12th, 7 to 8 p.m. Yoga Nidra. You can join me on Zoom or in person at Dundas Yoga and Fitness. It is always pay what you can. And then after that, from 8:30 to 10, I have a healing energy healing and activation circle. It is some hands-on energy work, removing blocks and activating new energy centers in the body to clear different things. I haven't decided on my January theme yet. I will do that over the 2-week break, but watch for the January newsletter because it will have that in there. Those are $60, and there is a limit of 10 spaces, and you get notes from your healing afterwards. So far, people have had like incredibly powerful sessions, moving energy and opening up new energy channels. So grateful for that. And then I have a little break at the end of January. I go on vacation for my anniversary, and I can't wait. So yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah, or whatever other holiday that you celebrate. I hope you have an incredible next few weeks, and I will see you again in January 2024.